Hi, everyone. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. It's September 19th, 2023. We're here for our regular Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern time to chat and take your regular questions about U.S. immigration law. We're live on today on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Instagram, and also in a moment on TikTok, setting that all up. And we're going to take questions from general education live, and we're all set up. And we do this every week. We'll be back in next week as well. But hey, U.S. immigration questions, shoot it out. Let's get it started. So while people are starting to tune in, sorry for that. I was turning on TikTok, and the questions are coming in. There's a question that comes up a lot, and we're going to have to repeat it probably throughout the show a lot about how long cases are taking for the U.S. Embassy in Islamabad for scheduling a marriage green card case. It's pretty dramatic. People are waiting years for their ability. Just U.S. citizen married a Pakistani national. And just get an interview is taking years. It's taking forever. And it's something that's been very frustrating. And so what we're doing is helping out. Sorry, I'm setting up all this stuff live. Is that the embassy in Islamabad put a Twitter thing out saying they're going to start expediting cases. They're going to start moving things forward. So it is a big deal. Hopefully it really is the case that they do this. But I wanted to share that information. We're going to have to repeat it a couple of times. I know people tuning in a little bit later, as always, are going to ask about this question. It's an important one because the delays in Pakistan have been probably some of the worst in the world. Now, there was a lawsuit and it revealed like the delay times at our various embassies. And Pakistan wasn't the most worst. It was like, in Africa and stuff like that, it's worse. But probably the volume and numbers are less. Pakistan just is a high population country, has a lot of U.S. attachments. So you see them having a need for these kind of visas a lot. So it's a big deal. Hopefully it helps people out. There's just a mess out because we're going to take some questions right now. But when you see this stuff, for example, I just had a case right now who got a notice that their embassy interview is set, which is great. But when you get the email and look into it, it's set for 2002 or 2022. So we're like, what in the world's going on? Why are they telling us that the embassy interview is set for 2022? So now I got to follow up with them, see what's going on. We've already been waiting a year and a half for this interview. Clients are very frustrated, rightfully so. So it's just some of the weird stuff that you see happening in the immigration system. But again, if you have a case from Pakistan, those hopefully will get expedited, or at least get the line moving, because these things are stalled. Unfortunately, my TikTok's having some problems, so I'm trying to log in there for those who are listening video, audio, live, or recorded later. I'm going to get that done. But in the meantime, we'll take some cases. We have some watchers saying hi. Hello, Kanis. Hello, Nicole. Wise World says, my mother-in-law is Chinese citizen, got her 10-year B2 visa revoked. After 6 years, we don't know why. Is there any way to find out the reason? Nope. Unfortunately, they won't tell us, really. I mean, I could talk with you and try to spot a reason, but there could be other reasons we have no idea about and they don't tell us. So I could maybe talk with you, try to spot something, but I can't guarantee that. And then how do we know when we can reapply? I heard 10 years after. You could immediately reapply, but it tends, if they gave you a formal notice of what the denial is for, then if there was for fraud or misrepresentation, well, you need a waiver. Or if there's a certain year ban, well, you need a waiver or just wait 10 years. So it really depends on the facts of the whole situation. But we can have a consultation while we'll talk about it, but there may be no answer to. So I'm not really sure. I'll just get into it, see what's going on. Kenny's asking, what cases can we expedite the case? My husband's still waiting for his interview date. He lives in India. You could always expedite essentially everything. It just need to have a good reason for them to believe you and want to give it. So it's really, that's about it. Carfina, do you take asylum cases? No, asylum, very rarely. We have existing clients who have asylum issues pop up or their family's relatives, but it's not a typical thing that we take. It's got to be unique circumstances for us to accept an asylum case. So it's not, can't say 100% we don't, because we have some that are accepting right now. But again, these are who are existing clients, existing relationships. So it's an add-on that we're doing, but we don't typically handle asylum cases for non-existing clients, or unless the facts are really good or something like that. But email the office with the facts. Who knows? Might be a unique situation that we'll accept it. All right, so we just finally got on TikTok, and that's where a lot of the questions come from. I'm sure people are joining and ask about timelines and stuff. And I'm gonna give my typical answer of I don't know. Nicole asks, how do they choose their cases and set interviews? They don't really tell us, but it's just so they get them and they batch them and see what's working out. We don't really know exactly what the procedure is, other than just gets in there. And this realty asks, which service center do you feel the slowest for the I-130 for spouse? I don't feel anything. It just each case is different. Same service center might approve one case in 3 months, another in 12 months, and you have no control over the service center that's handling your case. So your question, it doesn't really make a difference. You should just apply if you need to and hope for the best. Don't get into which service is better. So something you have no control over, and my philosophy on things I have no control over is to just ignore them, frankly, or just be aware of the situation. But to spend any more time thinking about it is not worth it. Yeah, there are delays depending on which service you get. Some are worse than others, it seems. But at the same time, as I said, some will still approve your case faster than the other ones, even though the timelines say one thing. So when it comes to timelines with the government, everything is so all over the place, unreliable. It's just a complete mess. Well, thank you for joining us, everyone who's popping in on the TikTok channel. Zach one asked, my case is still at the same level. How long will okay, I'm not sure what level your case is, Zach one. Official Bayan says, how long will it take for the NBC to review my documents? Well, it was taking like 2 months. Recently, I'm getting document reviews by the National Visa Center completed in like 5-6 days. It's pretty incredible that they're working this fast. Now, they are making errors. We have to deal with errors like every case nowadays where they don't understand things. But even when they don't understand things, they're pretty quick to let us know and we could file. So that makes it worthwhile. But they're pretty quick. But that can change tomorrow. These things every day is different. Mahone asked, my parents did the brother-sister visa in 2008. I think the visa bulletin is stuck in March 1st, 2008. And they June it. How long will it take? I have no idea. It's whenever they decide to move the visa bulletin forward and just whenever that line moves forward. User one asked, hello, can somebody apply for permanent residence on the Biden program, please? My name is Nathan. I don't know what the Biden program is. There's no such thing as a Biden program. Zach says, I-751 pending from last year. There's no I-7 There's no I-75, but I don't know. I don't know what case it is because there's no I-875. Let me see if there is I-875, but I've never heard of that form before. So you're making a mistake on the form type that you have. There's, I'm not sure what form type you're talking about, Zach one. Joey asks, hi, after being denied B1, B2 visa for 6 times, can I marry a U.S. citizen and get approved? Well, it depends on why you were denied. I have to look at your case and see what's going on, but it doesn't necessarily preclude you. If you're just denied for immigrant intent or something like that, then it's not a big deal. But if you're denied for other reasons, yeah. Justice says, should I worry my son and spouse were approved for work permits and I'm still waiting? No, it's just random. It's nothing to worry about. Jojo says, I got an SB1 visa returned to U.S. Will I have an issue with abandonment later to USCIS? Probably not, but it's not guaranteed. But probably not. Jonah says, again, these are probably, it's up to some random person how strict they want to be. Jonah asks, I'm waiting for my physical green card. Can I leave the U.S. and just mail it to me overseas? It's a little risky to do that, but it's not, I can't say don't. Formally, I would say don't do that. But it's up to you if you want to take those risks. Naveen says, can the embassy kick off kids even after the visa application is documented completely waited 20 years? The embassy, if their kids don't fall into the case based on Child Status Protection Act, will kick it off. So it's just what happens. Joy says, hi, after being denied. Okay, I already answered that question. I says, how long does it take for a marriage application? 3 months, 4 years, that average. Joy says, hi, after being denied. If I said Joy's question again, I have to mute you. So Joey, don't ask more questions on TikTok. The same question over again. I'm also going to mute you. Jessica says, do RFPs usually delay the I-130? My case saw USCIS. Yes, they all definitely will delay the case. Ike says, what does it mean my case being actively reviewed by USCIS? Well, I mean, it means exactly what it says. Your case is being actively reviewed by USCIS. I get this question a lot. I'm not sure where the misunderstanding comes from that. Rupesh asked about our documents to qualified date and permanent. I'm not going to analyze the visa bulletin right now on the show. Naomi says, can a person travel without a passport? They only have a green card. No, most countries need a passport or some sort of travel document. Atuka says, there's some exceptions and waivers of some things, but it goes case-by-case basis. Atuka says, are they still waiving the interview for green card adjustment of status? For a lot of cases, yeah. Naveen says, is there an appeal that we can do? Naveen, I don't know what you're to do. It's not an appeal. If you think your children were supposed to be on the Child Status Protection Act, then you got to, tell them, explain why that is. So I'd have to analyze it, do the math, do the calculation. And if you were supposed to get it and they withheld it from you, then you tell them that. But it's not an appeal. It's just letting them know they made an error and you work your way through it. Let me move the camera down so people aren't seeing my forehead or something, because I'm looking down at the phone constantly. All right, Kenny's follows up. Can my kids stay in India for a year? They have 5-year visa for India. I don't handle Indian immigration. I can't answer that question. Just Jay says, why would USCIS approve standalone I765 not common card? Because they want to. I mean, why? It's just that's how they did. They're trying to approve the work permits faster, so they're adjudicating and reviewing only one of the applications. User 123 says, I left where if I want visa interview at US blank but filled want embassy, am I in trouble? I'm not sure what your question is, user. You gotta better address your question. Maji says, I work without work permit overstay on F1. Now I'm married to US citizen. Can I adjust my non-status? Potentially, you can. Unauthorized employment is not an issue for adjustment of status if you're married to a U.S. citizen and getting a green card that way. But the problem would happen is, for example, you claim to be a U.S. citizen to get that job, or you create a bunch of false documents, potentially accuse you of document fraud. So, if you work at your friend's restaurant getting paid cash, then that's not going to be problematic. But if you signed up somewhere and you get out a fake passport to get the job, then that's a serious problem. So, that's it depends. That's why I need to know more information on exactly what happened. Download my guide. If you're doing a marriage green card case, I have a guide called the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. It's at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Go there and download it. I think it's going to be helpful for your case. Everyone else, it's called marriageimmigrationlaw.com. 40 plus page PDF that goes over just the immigration system for marriage, green card, fiance cases, so you can better understand that process. Do they waive the interview if the marriage is less than 2 years for adjustment on F1? Usually they do recently. The last year and a half they have. Afghan says, hello, so USCIS canceled our green card interview so long takes to schedule again. It's up to the local office. Jose says, my I-20 expired August 31st. I just got married to a U.S. citizen. How much time do I have to file I-130? There's no deadline to file. The sooner you file, the better, just so because you won't be to hurry up and get status, so you won't be out of status. But there's no necessary deadline for you to file an I-130. Unless you're married to a green card holder, that changes things up. It's if you're married to a U.S. citizen. George, it won't be a problem. Jojo says, is USCIS speeding up M400s getting potential new president? Yeah, every year during election years, they increase the number of citizenship officers they have to speed up more citizenship adjudications because so that's been standard practice for many years. Chantel asks, why is the U.S. Embassy in Islamabad taking so long for interview? They're backed up, but they're claiming that they're going to move things forward and get faster. Dylan says, the embassy messed up petitioner's last name to prior last name, first marriage. What can we do? You contact them and correct the record. Send documents showing their actual name. Zoned Out says, can I apply for a new driver's license after getting... I don't know what the rest of it is. I can't talk about driver's licenses. That's pending under state DMV. John says, I'm from Afghanistan. I have an individual court. If I join alone with our attorney, is it okay? I don't handle court cases, so I don't want to guide on that, but it's always better to have a lawyer. So that's just a short of that. Odalia says, can't parents adjust through PIP? They gave ICE false ID and got deported, but came back in illegally. Well, they may be subject to the permanent bar. So maybe not. Parole in place won't solve the permanent bar. They have to wait outside for 10 years before they can file. That's probably what happened. I don't know exactly. I need to review your documents. And there might be a fraud finding somewhere in there too, but it's something we'd have to look at in more detail. User 123 says, I-130 form where it asks where you want visa interview. I left blank for in US, but filed embassy. I left blank for US, but filled in embassy. Okay, then you did. If you're going to go to the embassy, you got to fill in the embassy. Football says, hello, on the visa bulletin for EB3 visa, is it category 4 for priority dates? If not, which one, please? Category 4. I mean, I'm not sure what you mean. Just look at the country that you are. If you're all the, I'm not sure what that question means. Sorry. Zach one says the formal stock model is IA2 for application action. Okay, so those are backed up. What is the question, Zach one, you have about that? Lil John says, what's a good reason for expedite I-130 petition? It just depends on the facts of your case. For I-130 is not much. Okay, I had an I-130 expedited. So we filed a case for a U.S. citizen filed for his wife and his stepchild. The woman he married had a child already. And the wife got approved in 3 months. Then we waited another month, and the child was still not approved. So I contacted them and said, let's expedite it because mom's case is already approved and moved forward to the NBC, and it's a minor child. So we want to keep the cases together. And so USCIS pretty immediately approved the stepchild's case and moved the case so they could process together. But there's infinite number of reasons, so I can't really go over them. It just depends on the facts of your life. Zach one says, I filed last year, September 22, after receipt no update. Yeah, those cases are really backed up, I-24s. You want to avoid that as the plague. Just Jay says, do F4 Sibling Adjustment of status require an interview or only marriage-based? Every case you could assume will have an interview unless there's some reason to waive it. Do I need to fill up a new affidavit support form if my parents' case goes to next year? No, but you have to update the financial documents. tax returns, pay stubs, stuff like that. W-2. Jinna Chayan, I don't know what your question is, Jinna Chayan. I didn't see any questions from you, so I'm not sure what it could have been that I didn't answer clearly. King says, do I need to? Okay, I already did that. Morat says, how long to get an interview after the permanent work? There's no relation to those documents in the interview. Mom says, how long after approval of I-485 to get the green card? I mean, it's supposed to be within a week, but sometimes it takes 9 months, 10 months. Really depends on the post and what's going on. User 123 says, how long does it usually take once you get a citizenship after you're eligible? I don't know if you file 3 months, a year and a half. That's a big variance. Lily John says, thank you. How much might I-130 petition with spouse in Greece? I don't know. I don't have it. The petition doesn't matter if you're in Greece or something like that, but the petition itself is taking between 12 to 16 months right now. And then the embassy depends on how busy they are at the time. Jose asks, do you guys offer help on filing I-130, I-485, approximately how much should it cost? So we don't talk about costs here. We have to review your individual case to see how much it is, because every case has different issues that require different levels of service. So we do, that's our focus is I-130, I-485 cases. But you got to email the office, schedule a consultation, and probably one of my associates could talk with you. And there are consultation fees, and then they could break down everything. But you want a lawyer that's going to be thorough and not just say a price. You're not just, everyone's not the same to me. You're an individual person, Jose. So we got to see what individually you need, or else all you got to do is jack up the price for everybody to balance it out. You got to get what exactly you need. Zoned Out says, can I apply for? And just leaves the question there. Okay, so we got a question. Gladys asks, on my J1 visa, it's written 2-year rule does not apply. What does that mean? So for when you're applying and you use a J1 cultural exchange visa, depending on who pays for your trip, what kind of work you're doing in the United States, you may be subject to what's called the 2-year home residency requirement. And that says this: after you're done with the stuff you're doing on your J1, and my hair is super curly. Sorry for those with audio, don't see this, but my hair is being super. I gotta get a haircut. But anyways, when you have a J1, for example, if you come here to study medicine, or you're a Fulbright scholar, or your government of your country pays for you to come study in the United States, a lot of times they'll say you got to come back home for 2 years and share all this knowledge you gained in the United States and bring it back to the home country. And so that's the 2-year home residency requirement for J1s. Not all of them have this. So if it's written 2-year rule does not apply, it's good. That means you don't have to go back to your home country for 2 years after the J1's done. The requirement is that if you don't go back to your home country 2 years, you can't get an H visa, you can't get an L visa, you can't change status in the United States, and you can't apply for a green card. So you want to remove those requirements. There are waivers for it in some cases, but that's the general situation that's going on there with the J1 2-year home residency requirement. Jinan says, I asked my husband his case under processing December 2022, immigrant visa. I'm waiting for him 6 months. What can we do to get green card? Me and my daughter, I'm in Texas. I don't know. I don't know anything about enough about your case. I'm not sure. Why do I have this on my head? So what's going on? But Janan, I don't know your case. That's not something I answer. I needed to speak with your whole family, see what's going on, review your documents, what you applied for. So now it says, can I apply for a driver's license after biometrics? No. On TikTok, I'm getting this thing, garland headpiece. I'm not sure. And I stopped that from happening. But okay. So yeah, driver's license has nothing to do with biometrics. Brightband says, can I add my family member to my case, to my cause, please? I don't know. Depends on what family member is. Depends on what kind of case you have. How do I prevent people from putting this weird stuff in my face? What's going on here? On TikTok. John says, visa bulletin movement next month, F2A. I mean, that's not up to me. So we got to just wait and see what next month's F2A visa bulletin is. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't really say what's going to happen. I just got to see what happens. I can do clickbait and say, tune in and get my belief on what's going to happen. But when it's all nonsense and it's just hocus pocus, I'd rather not do that. You know, it is clickbait and I'll get more views on YouTube, but hey, it is what it is. Dan Otter says, hey, man, I was messing with you like your work. I appreciate it. No problem. It was just funny, too. No problem, Dan Otter. Thank you for, I know those points cost money or coins and stuff, so I appreciate that. Britannia says, sorry, I meant how. Bright Britannia, I'm not sure how. How can I add my family member to case, please? I don't know what kind of case you have, Britannia. What kind of case is it? Where is it in the process? What kind of relative is it? How old are they? It depends. Edu says, I have a 10-year green card, been married for 4 years now. My spouse is already threatening. What can I do? And if you got your green card and everything's good, then, you know, just do what's safe for you in your personal life. I don't know. I can't give individual advice here about what to do in your life, but just do what's safer for you. Audrey asks, I will be doing adjustment of status, so I still need to provide backup for my marriage if I apply I130 is already approved. Provide backup for my marriage. It's always good to have updated ones. Why not? But it's not mandatory. Dante says, what's the best option for someone who has been arrested and went to jail and the case was dismissed? We got to get all the court records, see what the charges were, what admissions were given, why the case was dismissed, all that kind of stuff, and figure out from there. Genial says he did the interview and fingerprints and medical tests, but they tell me it's under processing. It's unfortunate. It's just administrative processing. If it takes a long time, you sue them. Maybe that'll do something. But other than that, you got to wait when these cases go to the embassy. I'm assuming you went to the embassy and no, like attention is coming to it. You might just have to wait a little bit longer to see what happens. Yeah, it's a tricky situation with the embassies. If you do an interview and it just stalls like that, it's a mess. So unfortunately, you don't want that to happen. It's kind of weird today. The TikTok usually has 1 million people on it. Very small amount of people are tuning in. So it's interesting that what's going on. I'm not sure what's some sort of internet issue happening. Opeyemi says, good day, sir. I'm Nigerian. How can I get myself a job over there, sir? Well, apply for jobs and see if they hire you, and then you got to get a work permit. So it's going to be extremely, extremely, extremely difficult for you to do that, but just the same way you get jobs anywhere for us. Lil Jonna says, John, we already filed for I-130 petition in June because of 1 day overstay. I might need a waiver as well. How much do you charge to take over the case? We don't talk about fees here. I'm not sure I can accept it. I'm not sure if you need a waiver if it's 1 day overstay. If it's overstay, you might not be able to apply. So first, we have to have a consultation just to see what services are needed. We typically don't take on cases that someone else already started. It's just cleaning up. It requires more work to clean up an error or just get into a case, and it does do it from the beginning, and then we're responsible for it. So we have to review your case, see if we can accept it, if there's anything we could do, and then take it from there. So there are consultation fees. But go to our website, jqklaw.com, and then you get the fees and all that on the consultation link that's there on the front page. Okay, let's see. Brightbine says, so sorry, I meant, how can I add my family member to my case DS260? Well, if they're a person that can be added, you just there's a button on the DS260 SEAC website that says add a person. So just click on that. Justice says, can I expedite my I765 based on my dependents being approved before me? Not really. That's nothing to do with anything. I mean, give it a shot, and why not? Who knows? It might work. Edu says, my question is, will divorce affect my residency? I don't know. If you already had your green card for 4 years and everything's cool, if there's no fraud involved, I don't see why it would, but I can't give you that kind of advice. I don't know anything about other than the half a sentence you said here. So that's the kind of advice we guys can talk about to make sure we cover everything and not give you half information. Nicole asks, apart from marriage and seeking asylum, what other ways can an immigration lawyer help someone get their green card? Well, there's all the other avenues. There's other family-based categories. There's employment-based categories, extraordinary ability, national interest waivers, multinational managers, researchers. There's EB2, EB3, people that got employment. There's religious workers. There's Iraqi translators. There's investors. And so there's all these different options. And if you can't get the green card, there's a whole bunch of non-immigrant options, temporary options that are from work visas, investor visas. There's all over the place. And so we got to really analyze what is appropriate. For example, I got a Canadian I contacted the other day. He could have got a TN visa, an O1 visa, or an E2 visa. E2 visa, invested enough, could have been an EB5 green card. O1, if he develops himself, could be an EB1A green card. And the TN by itself would be something like if the employer filed for his green card, EB2, he could have got a green card like that. So first, we get a temporary visa to get him here, start working, develop relationships, and employer's going to file or more money to reinvest. And then from there, get a green card. So there's a lot of analysis and strategy that goes along, long-term strategy. It takes years sometimes, but that goes into this. Mohammed asks, hi, Strom, Pakistan F4 priority dates. I don't know. Just go to the visa bulletin and see what's going on and where you're at. Travel says, no last name, how Phil DS260. If you don't have a last name, I think they write FNU or something like that. I can't remember, but go online at FNU or what it will say, let's say there. If your DS260 is already up, they pre-fill your name, so that should cover what in there already. Just J, Adios. Okay, that's a Bright Bonnie. How long will it take for the embassy to schedule an interview after approve your document? There's no expected date. Depends on the embassy they'll the people who actually schedule an interview. It depends on how busy they are and when they want to schedule your case. So we got a couple of minutes left. If anyone wants to join in, please join. You know, one good thing about not many people coming to TikTok channel is we're actually getting good questions, not people asking the same question a million times. So it's kind of a smoother trip. I like that. Even though it's lesser people, I like small groups better. You can actually have a conversation and not be so rushed and get frustrated if people ask the same question a million times. But, you know, yeah, general immigration system, we have timelines all over the place, very hard to expedite, give it a shot. But the important thing is the only way to speed up your case is to submit a clean case as possible and not cause unnecessary delays on your side, because you can't really control what the government does, but you can control what you do, which is send the best paperwork, cleanest answers, easy to review documents, send it to the right place, right check amounts, all that kind of stuff, sign the right places. And that's the best thing you can do to try to avoid delays, because that's what's in your power. And so that's what I recommend y'all do. Having said that, let's take one more or two more questions and we'll call it a day. We'll let it at that. If you're dealing with the National Visa Center, they do make errors when they're signing stuff. So we have, for example, we have a case where they signed the wrong embassy, and to fix it, we've been going back and forth for 3 weeks with them, and they're just not understanding it. So it's like this stuff happens. Olufemi asks, I've been waiting for a response from my I-485 since December 2021. I also have a filing for NBC for my sister. Can I pursue this simultaneously? You can. Olufemi, this is you got to be careful. I can't give advice here, because if you could push the NBC case forward, but you have to leave the U.S. to go there. I'm not sure what your status is here, if that causes any sort of issues. If what you had done in the U.S. that caused prevention being denied, there's risks of leaving. If you have an I-4 pending for 2 years, they may be doing a fraud investigation. So I need to know everything about your existing case, and then to see if there's risks or what's going on. It's not something I could just like bright line answer here. That's why I got to have an attorney kind of talk with you about this. John asked, asylum denied in the past, got green card through EB3 and traveled to my home country. Will N400 get denied? Well, if your asylum is denied, you got to make sure they accuse you of fraud. And if you got green card through EB3, I don't know. I got to see your case history, what you said in the asylum case, the denial notice, what was written there. If the EB3 case was done properly, if you're subject to a 3 or 10-year ban, which they incorrectly didn't use or did use or whatever, then we got to check to see if you ever did false claim citizenship, if you're a member of any groups or associations that are not bad. So, John, we got to review the whole thing first in your background before I can answer that question. All right. With that question, though, I guess we'll call it a day. I'll be back again next Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern to take your questions live. I'm immigration lawyer John Castrovi. Thank you for joining. God bless. Be safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.